All right. So this is something I came up with off the top of my head. I was just thinking, mostly brought on by the fact that Rusev, or Miro as he's called now, did a Twitch stream yesterday with Cesaro. They were playing Valorant, which Rusev does not like Valorant, but he played with him anyway. And anyway, I thought, what would have been cool if Rusev and Cesaro were a tag team, at least for a little while. And so I came up with this idea in my head, and it's going to go back to the 2016 draft that kind of started this. So this is my WWE fan fan booking of Rusev and Cesaro as a tag team. So we go back to the 2016 draft, right? And Cesaro was drafted to Raw, even though on that draft episode he said he was surprised because SmackDown was supposed to be the more wrestling-based show, which is what Cesaro would have been better for, and I agree. But, okay, this led to a best-of-7 series that went fucking nowhere, to be honest. They ended up in a double count-out. The best-of-7 series was to not only find who was the better man between him and Sheamus, but to also figure out who would be in line for a title shot. Well, because Vince McMahon doesn't want either of them to be the face of the company, damn it. They got booked into a corner and ended up a double count out. At least I remember correctly, that's what it was. And they both got a title shot, but they were put in the tag team championship match, which they eventually won. Here, I'm going to do it differently. One, no best of 7 series. One match at SummerSlam with a winner getting a future title opportunity. Any title of their choice. Now, or any title that is amicable. So, also at this event was supposed to be Rusev versus Roman Reigns, but due to a pre-match attack by Roman Reigns on Rusev got injured and wasn't able to compete. So we're going to change that. First of all, Rusev and Roman Reigns are going to have their match, but Roman's going to win by disqualification due to Lana's interference. And they're not going to have a match at Clash of Champions, as you'll see where I'm going here. What's going to happen is that Roman is going to attack Rusev after the match and then be reprimanded by Stephanie McMahon the next night on Raw and told that he cannot put his hands on Rusev or he'll be suspended. So we'll do that. So here's what's going to happen is Sheamus and Cesaro are going to have their match. It's also going to end in a double countout, which means they will both get a title shot. Mick Foley declares that, hey, they should get a Universal Championship triple threat match. But due to the fact that they have no Universal Champion, it's decided that maybe, they should have a United States Championship match at Clash of Champions, which is Raw's first solo pay-per-view. And that leaves them out of the tournament to declare a new champion or whatever they were doing at the time. But everything's probably going to go the same way without Roman Reigns involved, because Roman Reigns is now suspended, or will be suspended, because at Clash of Champions, I guess he could do the same thing, because by then Kevin Owens was champion. So everything can go the way it did with Roman Reigns. But at Clash of Champions, it's got to be before, so he doesn't get the title shot. It's supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at Clash of Champions. And the Sheamus and Cesaro triple threat match is on hold until after we find out who the Universal Champion is going to be. Because originally they're going to be in line for Universal title match because they both, technically won. Well, Roman can't wait, and he attacks Rusev during a promo that Lana's giving, and this caused him to be suspended. As a last-ditch effort, this being the go-home show for Clash of Champions, and scrambling hours before to figure out who Rusev's going to challenge, she decides, hey, put Sheamus and Cesaro in a triple threat match with Rusev. Yes, they're all three heels, but this is leading towards a Cesaro face turn eventually anyway. So, or not Cesaro, well, down the road, but I'm thinking Sheamus first. So, Sheamus wins the match by a brogue kick to Cesaro. He pins Cesaro. 1, 2, 3. Cesaro loses all the time. It's okay. He wins the United States Championship. And so, Sheamus is now United States Champion. And Sheamus is on his way to a face turn. Rusev wants a rematch the next night on Raw, which he gets, but loses by a disqualification due to interference from Cesaro. The two kind of butt heads and, yelling, saying, hey, I wanted my title back. What did you do? You got in the way. I wanted to get my title back. And Cesaro saying, well, I want revenge on Sheamus for pinning me last night. And the two of them kind of, and Lana finally says, hey, boys, you both want Sheamus. Why don't you both team up and go after Sheamus? This makes them scratch their head. Yes, the New Day are still tag team champions at this point, but just wait. We're heading towards that. So, a couple months passed. We have Survivor Series where Sheamus faces whoever the Intercontinental Champion was it? The Miz at the time, and they have their match. And if I remember correctly, even though SmackDown got 1 point, they still considered it a shutout because it was a mess up. So I don't know. Well, we get to the Raw pay-per-view, which is Roadblock. All right, and it's Sheamus. And instead of a United States title match, Roman Reigns is back. And it's going to be Roman Reigns and Sheamus versus Cesaro and Rusev in a tag team match. And now this also puts Roman and Sheamus at odds because just 1 year earlier at the TLC, Sheamus cashed in on Roman for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Don't forget that. I think it was the TLC. I think it was TLC 2015 that it happened. I believe it was because he won that, and then maybe it was before that. I know it was around that time. So there's tensions between them because they don't trust each other. But ultimately they do win. But Sheamus and Cesaro and Rusev decide to move on to other things, and Lana actually talks to Stephanie McMahon and gets them a Raw Tag Team Champions to be the Raw Tag Team Championship match at the Royal Rumble. But they're both concerned about winning the Royal Rumble, so But they still, so they have problems. This is where they have the blow-off championship tag match, and they win on a random episode of Raw. Go figure. And they win the tag titles, and they celebrate. And they have a rematch against the New Day at Elimination Chamber, I think was the Raw pay-per-view. They retain, and we go to WrestleMania. They have their tag team championships up until WrestleMania, where they lose to the Hardy Boys in that ladder match. Okay. Meanwhile, Sheamus loses the United States Championship at the on another episode of Raw to Kevin Owens, who has his rivalry with Chris Jericho, resulting in Kevin Owens retaining the title at WrestleMania. This sets up our draft, all right? In the draft, Cesaro, Superstar Shakeup, whatever. Cesaro goes to SmackDown, leaving Rusev and Sheamus on Raw to do whatever. And so then Cesaro would have a face turn. Well, they would have a blow-up match. I think Rusev and Cesaro would have a blowing up after their tag team championship match because they weren't a fully, unlike him and Sheamus, they didn't, they always butted heads. They never eventually became a team and worked together. did it because Lana said to. And so they still have problems with each other. So at a blow-off match at what would be Backlash, which would be a double pay-per-view. They have a blow-off match in the pre-show or something. And then Cesaro gets Superstar shaked up to SmackDown, where he is now a face, and he faces off against Kevin Owens, who's the United States Champion, and does not have that stupid match with Chris Jericho for the United States title, where Chris Jericho, who is still on Raw, by the way, wins the title, and then says, oh, the United States Championship is probably SmackDown, so you have to come to SmackDown too. No, keep Jericho on Raw, and have Cesaro win the United States Championship. Now, what's the argument here? Well, Kevin Owens comes out and says he's the new face of America. Well, Cesaro comes out and says, I might not be an actual American, but I was once a real American and a better United States champion than you will ever be. And that leads to their match, and that leads to Cesaro winning the United States Championship. I think that's a way to end this, is that's, even though it's about what if Rusev and Cesaro had a team, they were both, butting heads at the time. But, yeah, and Cesaro, who I think should be pushed better, gets that push in the mid-card and is United States Champion. That's just what I came up with. On top of my head, as you see, I'm kind of going back and forth on some things. But that's just what I came up with. And a little thing for you guys to just think about. But, yeah, because I always think that Cesaro should be booked better, and he's not. I think Cesaro was a great athlete. I think there's a lot more in him than just being Sami Zayn's lackey or a tag team partner for Shinsuke. I think he deserves a singles title run, and WWE just won't give it to him because Vince McMahon is too set and is hilarious, damn it. And, pushes Roman to the moon, and as soon as Roman says, I can't do this because I don't want to get sick, Vince McMahon throws a fit and takes him off of TV for a while and omits him from a very important match clip from WrestleMania, but I digress. This is the way I would have booked it. No best of 7 series that went nowhere. One match that ended the same way, but at least went somewhere, as opposed to 7 matches over the course of 2 months that went nowhere and just didn't make any sense. I think this is a better booking choice. It gets Roman in there. It gets Rusev in there. It kind of embroils 3 different rivalries if you think about it. Sheamus versus Cesaro, Rusev versus Roman, and Roman versus Sheamus over the course of a year. That kind of brings all 3 of those together. And while there's no real finish to Sheamus versus Cesaro, there kind of is, as, they're not facing each other. And Sheamus could turn heel again, turn face. You could see maybe him going for the Intercontinental Championship when it comes to Raw, going after The Miz, which they've had some good matches. Or, maybe even going after a world title, maybe not winning it. I don't know. But, or you can have Sheamus turn heel again. Who knows? Who knows? But, yeah, it's just my idea. Off the top of my head, so I didn't write anything down. So, yeah, it's a little clunky being right off the top of my head, but just not my thought. So, what are your thoughts on my booking? Them in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.